all of you are doing fine. I am Mohammad Rafi, the CEO of TS Qatar Systems and Communications. On behalf of TS Qatar, Dell Technologies and Mindware, I would like to welcome all of you for this virtual conference. TS Qatar is a leading value-added system integrator with a strong presence of more than 10 years in the Qatar market. By partnering with TS Qatar, you can be very confident of getting complete and reliable IT solution for your business. TS Qatar offers consultancy, implementation, and support services in all domains of IT, such as IT security, data center infrastructure, network infrastructure, unified communication, as well as contact center, cloud solutions, PCs, and accessories. I would like to draw your attention that TS Qatar is keeping stock of all run rate items in Qatar. We have a minimum of 5 million stock throughout the year. And we have an average stock of 1.5 to 2 million laptops and desktop stock, which enable us to facilitate your requirement faster. Few years back, we have started our journey with Dell Technologies. Our growth with Dell Technologies is so quick. We achieved gold partnership on last year, which enable us to serve you better. Moving forward, we also have partnership with industry-leading vendors listed below and much more. Moving forward, our first keynote speaker, Mr. Rajat Bhatia. He's a senior system engineer with Dell Technologies. He has 15 years of experience in different roles around data center solutions. He'll be presenting how PowerStore can deliver critical performance and storage efficiency for both traditional and modern data centers. I would like your full attention during the session. There will be a Kahoot quiz at the end of the event with exciting prizes. So let me welcome Mr. Rajat to the podium. Thank you. Have a wonderful event ahead. Mr. Rajat.
Yeah, not sure. Can somebody confirm if my video and audio are okay? Great. Thank you so much to the team. And first of all, I would like to welcome all the esteemed customers on today's session. So warm welcome to everyone. And I'm sure all of you will have a great day learning about our solutions and products that hopefully would differentiate in your data center environments. Just to introduce myself, I'm Rajat Bhatia. Rafi already introduced me, so thanks to him. I'm part of the channel pre-sales team in Qatar, working for Dell Technologies. I'm working across the region in Gulf, for Kuwait as well, and working very closely with our partners in Qatar. So today, The topic that I'm going to be talking about is called PowerStore. I'm sure many of you have heard about this product already. This was launched last year in May, and this has been one of our most high growth product that we have seen since the inception of Dell and EMC working together. So without taking further time, I'll just straight away jump into the context of why Dell EMC announced PowerStore. Even despite having multiple products in its own portfolio around storage and servers, especially coming from legacy Dell and legacy EMC, we had multiple products. So what was the need of another product? That was the first question that many of our partners and customers asked. So if you could just spend a minute on the context around why PowerStore. What we have seen in the past, and is that data has always played a very, very key role for any organization. And if we especially look at the post-COVID era, the amount of growth in the data has been tremendous, phenomenal. Especially, the cultures of work from home has really increased the amount of, the density of the data. And hence there was a need for, architectures that could support that level of growth in the organizations. My statement is very well aligned to what many of the analysts across the IT industry have been vocal about. Companies like ESG, IDC have already been talking about the growth in the data storage and the trends around having data as a strategic element in the organization, and the need for creating architectures that could sustain for a longer period of time. And not just from sustainability, but also from how customers will be able to drive insights out of those data. So these are very, very crucial points that were kept in mind. And we realize that many of the organizations have data that span across their organization in form of not just the type of data, but also from where the data is getting generated. What we are seeing today is a growth and momentum across utilization of the core data centers, but also the cloud. And now the new concept that is coming up is how to use the edge, right, for high data performance and reduce time to market. So that's basically about the data. At the same time, there is a lot of expectations on the IT departments to start looking at storage by having more efficiency. And when I say efficiency, I essentially mean cloud-like agility, having the ability for the IT teams to orchestrate and provision things on a click of a button. So a lot of demands and expectations have risen around this, if I can just call it a data era. So what we have seen in the past is that storage solutions have primarily been, designed around some key elements which were focused only on data. So whether it was the way data was getting protected, the way we were trying to virtualize the storage arrays, trying to improve the efficiency and the performance of the storage, having some key features around replication, thin provisioning, and all that stuff. Those became a de facto standard when it comes to the storage solutions. However, as we go forward, the demand for the new services around the storage, especially around integrating it with customers who are using their own development environments, integrating it with DevOps, creating that automation cycle within and workflows within, created more and more demand. Having the ability for the storage to drive more intelligence, being more simple, were some of the key elements that were being looked at in the industry around storage. And that's where PowerStore came in. We realized that there was a need for a new architecture, and last year Dell EMC announced, after a lot of deliberation, a new architecture which was called PowerStore. As I said, it is one of our fastest growing products so far. So if you look at PowerStore, what are the key highlights? I'm not going to go inside, a lot of details about the hardware specs and the speeds and the feeds of the product, because that is something that we all have been living by. But what I'm going to essentially be focusing today on are the key features around PowerStore, which cuts across the entire family. So whether it is an entry-level product of the PowerStore series or the highest end of the PowerStore series, we're talking absolutely same level of data services, absolutely same level of operating system availability. So I'll be focusing mainly around those particular features. So when I talk about PowerStore, we typically categorize the feature set into three key pillars. One, it being data-centric, the other being intelligent and adaptable. What do I mean by this? By data-centric, I mean that the design of the PowerStore has been optimized to provide the right level of system performance, scalability, and efficiency to support any workload that you have, and without any compromise. By intelligent, I actually mean having the ability of the storage array to automate and program things on its own, integrate with your own VMware environments or Ansible environments, which can automate a lot of the provisioning tasks that typically rely on the storage administrators on. Having the ability to manage the system with as low and as less manual requirements as possible, having the ability to optimize and provide proactive monitoring around the storage. By adaptable, I essentially mean driving the choice for the customers to utilize the storage architecture across their environments. So how can a PowerStore integrate into an existing HCI environment, for example? If we are using ESXi based environment, how can a PowerStore integrate into those environments? So a lot of choice, flexibility and adaptability is what is required. And in the end, I would be talking about one key feature that we have on PowerStore, which makes it much more easier to provide data in place upgrades and ability for you as our customers to move into next generation of PowerStore whenever they get announced. So I'm going to go inside details of all these three key pillars. But before I go, just want to quickly capture on different models that we have. Not going to go inside each and everything here, but as you see right from your left hand side to the right hand side, we start with the PowerStore 500T, which is a product that is announced just a month back, owing to the success of our PowerStore line. So it is mainly targeted towards customers who are looking at remote offices or branch offices or having smaller environments. Yet, this box can go up to petabytes of from a capacity standpoint, and have been aligned to the costing and the efficiency of price versus performance very well to the mid-market level. And you go all the way up to the right hand side where we're talking about PowerStore 9000. So the main difference between different models is mainly in terms of how much IOPS or latency they can achieve. So you'll see the main difference coming from the controller power to the memory. But one thing that you would notice here is that the capacity of all these drives remains same. So we are standardizing them on maximum 96 drives per appliance. However, there is a beautiful feature that I'm going to talk about, which would highlight the scalability limits of this particular box. Again, not going to go inside all the type of drives and the front-end connectivity. We will look into that in the next subsequent slides. Going forward, so when I talk about data-centric, what I essentially mean, PowerStore is basically architected to eliminate many of the trade-offs that we have in the environments, whether it is around performance or scalability and driving the efficiency. If you look about any modern environment, we see different type of workloads, whether it is the traditional workloads, which are mainly around applications and databases and web services. We talk about different kind of virtualization technologies to next generation of software development methodologies like containers and all that stuff. So far, what we have seen is that many customers were looking at different architectures to support different data needs, and that is where we ended up looking at having different silos of environments in our data center. We'll have a single box for our databases. We'll have one box for our file environments, perhaps one box for our high performance requirements around virtualization or VDIs. And that's basically one of the bottlenecks that PowerStore aims to eliminate from the environment. So when I say any workload, practically what I mean is having the ability of PowerStore to address any kind of workload in your environment, whether it is your a database or applications, your ERPs, your hospital information systems, long and depth-based file environments, huge mega files as such. So different type of environments exist, and hence PowerStore has the ability to address any kind of workload by providing a unified architecture which addresses physical, virtual, files, containers, any kind of environment. Then I talk about how do we achieve that is basically by using technologies like end-to-end NVMe. And for starters, NVMe is basically our non-volatile memory. It is taken more of a drive or a media type, but it's actually not a drive or a media type. It is more of a protocol that is becoming industry standard now, and you'll see more and more of next generation of storage arrays adopting this architecture. And good news is that PowerStore already supports end-to-end NVMe design. What we are utilizing in PowerStore, architecture is completely NVMe SSDs and storage class memory, which is basically how we are able to provide the right level of performance and lower latencies. And when you talk about these kinds of medias, it's very essential that the storage has the ability to provide the right level of efficiency. And that is where, always on inline data reduction and compression plays a big role. And some of the surprises are in the next couple of slides. So just hold on to those points. I'm going to go a bit of detail on individual piece here. So when I say any workload, as I said, traditional and modern workloads exist in form of file environments, in form of block environments. And that is where, PowerStore has the ability to address all these type of workloads over different protocols. So you see Fiber Channel, iSCSI, NVMe over Fabric, which is our, evolving architecture, will be supported on PowerStore very soon. We also have the ability to run file workloads natively on top of the storage array, which means that our customers, you don't have to go for a separate file servers or file storage environments. So all of those are already bundled up inside this 2U box. Moving forward, when I talk about the performance, which is another key element for us when I talk about PowerStore, first of all, this architecture has been built on grounds up. It's not in a continuation of any of the existing EMC or Dell lines of products. It has been built up right from the scratch, looking at each and every best-in-class features that we have had in the past from any of our legacy storage arrays. So we have picked up, best of the breed features from all our existing line and bundled it up in this operating system. So it utilizes NVMe architecture, comes with 2 controllers as a base box. What you see as nodes, every controller having its own operating system in redundancy, and connected to the drive enclosure, which is completely NVMe SSDs or Intel Octane-based storage class memory. Now, if I talk about these 2 terms, NVMe or SCM, they are mainly centered around driving high amount of IOPS at lower latency, and I'm talking essentially sub-milliseconds of latency, which essentially means that the response time to your customer application is going to be bare minimum. No timeout, having the ability to run at a speed of close to DRAM. So that is what we are seeing improving our numbers for up to 7 times as compared to our existing mid-range storage offering, and reducing the latency by up to 3 times. So the whole premise of this is basically by utilizing an active-active controllers, which means we have the ability to look at a single LUN from both the controllers at the same time. So it is very different to an active-passive architecture, which many of our competitors cherish, but we really drive a lot of advantage from this architecture. And end-to-end NVMe and running SCM and flash capabilities on the controllers itself is what is having and helping us achieve 6 nines of availability when it comes to PowerStore. Now, this is another very great feature that we have: scale up and scale out. Typically, what we have seen, and I'm sure all of you have done it in the past, we typically invest in storage architectures, considering 3 years of headroom, 5 years of headroom, and that is essentially a capacity that is going waste unless and until you actually utilize. So you're investing in something that you're possibly going to utilize after 3 years. That's not the way we typically, suggest our customers to look at PowerStore, because it provides the ability to scale up and also scale out. Now, what I mean by scale up is that when you invest in a PowerStore, you have the ability to add more capacity by, attaching another drive expansion or adding more drives to the same pair of controllers, which means you are just essentially increasing the capacity and not the performance. So it's a linear increase of the capacity, but not the performance. So let's say you want to grow more on the capacity, you find that the performance is absolutely fine, all right. At the same time, if you look at having transformational projects, having more applications or users where you need not just the capacity, but also the performance, is where we drive a lot of uniqueness in this architecture. We have the ability to add more PowerStore appliances or PowerStore boxes as part of the same cluster. So what you see on your screen is basically 4 individual PowerStore boxes working in tandem in a single cluster, right? Individual appliance, as you see on your slide, let me just use my pointer here. Individual appliance has the ability to go up to 2.8 petabyte effective capacity. I'm going to talk about the E part of it, the effective capacity part of it in next couple of slides, but just hold on to that thought. So individual appliance, which is just this box, has the ability to go up to 2.8 petabytes. At the same time, when you have more capacity and performance requirements, we can also scale out, which means that I'm having now a linear growth of capacity and the performance in terms of the IOPS and the latency, right? So all these 4 PowerStore boxes or 8 controllers are working as a single storage solution for you, right? And this can grow up to 11.3 petabytes. So that's a lot of capacity, a lot of performance in this simple architecture. And there is no permutation and combination that you have to fill the entire box first in your first appliance before you could move out. There is no such rule. Depending on what your requirements are, you can easily grow as you want, right? So that's a great advantage that we have, and you will see more and more innovation that is coming, around this particular feature. Moving forward, and as I say, you can not just have scale out, but you can scale out with different models, and not just in the present line of products, but tomorrow after 2 years or 3 years, when we announce the version 3s or 4s of the same product line, you have the ability to integrate newer generation of PowerStore models into the same cluster. Now that's a very, very unique advantage to us. Metro Node is basically our ability of PowerStore to provide an active-active architecture. So if you're running your DR sites, which are typically active-passive, and you wait for that bad day where your main sites are not working to move to the DR site and shift operations, which is a painstaking task, we allow with our PowerStore a design capability which allows our customers to run both the data centers in an active-active setup. So there is no failover, there is no disaster recovery declaration. Both the sites, and I'll just show it to you in the next slide, both the sites are actually working live. There is no failover, as I said, there is no decision time requirements for somebody to take a call, okay, let's move to the DR site. No, users can access, applications can access the data from any of the sites at any given time, because both of them are acting actually like a stretch cluster. All right. So very, very unique advantage. And this is a feature that it's not new. It's been there for decades with us. We have just sort of renamed this, made it compatible with PowerStore. And this is where we are having the ability to give you 6 nines of availability and uptime, right? Fully integrated with majority of the applications, whether it is your Oracles or Microsofts or VMware. And this is where you can commit within the IT environments of zero downtime presence. Now, when I talk about the effectiveness and efficiency of a storage, I spoke about the ability to have always on inline data reduction. What do you mean by that? PowerStore, every write that is coming in from an application to the PowerStore will be deduped and compressed by the PowerStore controllers before it gets and hit the storage media. We understand that the cost of the media is going down, but still NVMe is a new technology. And because it is a solid state drive, the performance and the mean time between failure, what we call as the program erase cycles, is very, very high, which means we have the ability to drive write efficiencies from this kind of media. So PowerStore provides the ability to compress and dedupe the data by a ratio of 4:1. And this is basically a guarantee that is coming from Dell Technologies to our customers. What do I essentially translate this into is basically a benefit to our customers, that they don't need to buy the kind of media that they would buy if this functionality is not available. Just for example, if your requirement is around 40 terabyte usable capacity today, what I will come and commit to you is that you don't need to buy a 40 terabyte storage capacity on the storage appliance. What I can say is that you only need 10 terabyte of usable capacity, but you will be able to store up to 40 terabyte of data on that 10 terabyte box. That's the kind of guarantee that we are committing. Not many riders around the statement. Of course, we need to keep into account that there is certain type of data that is already deduped and compressed by the application itself. So there's nothing that anyone can do about it. But for all your virtualized environments, all your databases, VDIs, we can practically commit this guarantee. And we don't need any assessment for this. And what happens if I don't honor this commitment? Dell Technologies will be liable to come and provide the right compensation around this, whether it is in form of services or providing the extra capacity to fulfill this commitment. right? So this is coming as part of our loyalty program every time that you purchase a PowerStore. Moving forward, so just in summary around our data-centric design, active data paths, capacity expansions, whether you're scaling up or scaling out, resilient architecture, we use NVMe drives, which are dual ported, which means they can look at both the controllers at the same time. We are using the ability of single drive failure or dual drive failure. And again, there are some details that I cannot go into this in this particular session, but more than happy to discuss with any of the customers. It's running at a cluster design, so it is already highly available, whether it is your block or the file workloads. And all the software capabilities that I just spoke about, whether it is the thin provisioning, the virtualization, data protection, replication, all of those feature sets are coming de facto with the base operating system. So there is no requirement for our customers to buy operating system subscriptions or additional terabyte base licensing whenever they expand. Everything is coming on day one, right? So we don't charge for any further software increases. Now, coming to the second part of it, I'm 21 minutes up and just trying to move forward a little quickly. When I talk about the intelligent part of the PowerStore, there are three key features. The essential message is we want to drive the automation and operational efficiency across the management environment, which is basically giving the ability to our IT departments to free up the resources and focus on the other areas of optimizing the IT rather than doing the manual tasks every day. Right, and this is where programmable infrastructure, which basically allows automation and integrating with their DevOps environment, streamlining the development environments, and providing end-to-end workflows plays a big role. When I say autonomous environments, it's basically based on our scale-out feature capability. What does it mean? Is that there is an algorithm, a machine learning algorithm that is running every second in the PowerStore system, which provides the ability to our customers to guide on which is the best place to run their volumes on, right? So imagine you have, and I'm going to show it to you in the next slide. Imagine you have a cluster of 2 PowerStore nodes or appliances, and you need to take a decision where should you be hosting that data, whether it should be a PowerStore appliance 1 or appliance 2, and that is where this autonomous capability comes into play. The ability to look at the system real time and provide guidance on where the system resources should be based is a beautiful feature. Last but not least on this side is basically the ability to drive proactive health intelligence and analytics, which is where we use our Cloud IQ software, which is free of cost, and you have the ability to look at your PowerStore systems and get a predictable view of how the system is behaving, when it will run out of resources, how the capacity trends look like, any anomalies in the system. All that environment is being looked at from Cloud IQ perspective. Right? So just to go forward into this, when I talk about the programmable infrastructure, we have the capability to integrate into your existing management frameworks. For example, we talk about VMware Realize operations. You talk about Kubernetes, for example, you're having your own development environments. We have the CSI driver, which is the container storage interface. And we also provide Ansible modules that can integrate PowerStore with all these automation frameworks and release the administrator from any of those deployment tasks. So what we are essentially saying is that a provisioning task that would take the entire cycle of approvals and all that stuff gets shortened from days into seconds or minutes, for example, right? That is the kind of integration capabilities that we are talking with PowerStore. Whether it is Kubernetes or your existing VRO environments, we have the ability to integrate with all those. And if you have any third-party system, we have the APIs open on the PowerStore, which allows you to integrate into your existing, third-party EMS solutions as well. Now, I spoke about the autonomous capability. Now, this is an example. You have in this example that you see, you have 2 PowerStore appliances. First one is fully loaded, and the second one is partially loaded. Now, I think I moved a bit early. So let's say this is your first appliance that you procure. Going forward, you have the need to increase the capacity and the performance. So you add another appliance. Now, what happens? First question, is this a streamlined operation? Yes. You can add an appliance real time without any downtime. And the beauty is that when you add a new appliance into the same cluster, and when I say cluster, you're just hooking on this new appliance to the same network switch that we have. So this communication is happening over TCP/IP. The time you hook it up, the discovery happens automatically. The system resources are identified and discovered automatically by the machine learning algorithm that we have. And this could come as an alarm that a new serial number of PowerStore has been discovered. What do you want to do with that? And this is where the machine learning algorithm comes into picture. And this advises which is the right data placement for the workloads that already exist in the environment, right? The only thing that we expect our administrators, the storage administrators to do, and the IT staff to do is to whether to accept that advice or decline that advice. You don't need to do any manual task of migrating a volume from appliance 1 to appliance 2. That's a backend task that happens in the real time without any disruption to the applications or the users. So that data migration is a backend task that happens automatically. And this is a continuous process that happens. The only objective is to optimize the system resources from a capacity perspective in real time. And because this data migration as a task is happening automatically by the system, we also have the ability to move from one generation of PowerStore to the next generation of PowerStore without any downtime, right? Moving forward to Cloud IQ, this is more of a insight tool that we have. So this is not a tool from where you will manage your PowerStore or create volumes. This is more of a tool to provide the monitoring capabilities. And you don't need a VPN to log into this tool. You can simply install this app on your phone. I have it on my phone right now, just to show demos to the customers. You can have it on your browser. It's an HTML-based access. The only thing that we require for this is that you open up your storage to our secure remote services, which allows Dell EMC to look at the trends on the storage in real time. At the same time, Cloud IQ looks at our best practices and multiple other power stores that are connected across the globe. And it is basically a way of creating a data lake around the storage best practices. And this is where we can provide guidance to our customers on any troubleshooting that may be required, any issues that may come up, and that's where we are able to reduce the risks and provide uptime, increase. We are able to solve the problems faster. We are able to plan ahead when it comes to capacity trending, and provide, I'd say limit any kind of outages. So all this from a single screen, single pane of glass. Like I said, you can access it from anywhere and anytime. So that was mainly about the intelligent part. I'll go to the last segment, which is the adaptable. And this is where we'll see how can a PowerStore integrate into your existing environments, which I'm sure are varied. As I say, it is diverse, right? So from an adaptable perspective, we are talking about having the integration capabilities using different architectures that we have on PowerStore. So first and foremost, we utilize a capability where the operating system of the PowerStore is based on next generation of software development methodology, which is basically containers. We use next generation software stack around VMware Hypervisor, and I'm going to talk about that, which is basically an additional offering on the PowerStore models that allows integration into your existing ESX environments, integration into your existing VxRail environments, if some of you are using those. And also from a flexible deployment perspective, how can a PowerStore stretch from your edge deployments to your on-prem data centers all the way up to your clouds, right? And last but not least, we also have the option of flexible payments and data in place upgrades, and that's where you'll see more about anytime upgrade programs that we have. So first thing, we utilize, as I said, next generation software methodology, which is basically a Linux-based container architecture to develop the PowerStore operating system. It is very different from the traditional methodologies where storage architectures utilize a monolithic code, which means that the entire operating system is built on a single line of code. All the functionalities that are provided as part of the storage services, whether it is deduplication, compression, thin provisioning, virtualization, RAID concepts, everything was part of that single code. And what many of you would keep me honest on that is that every time a new update would be released by the principal storage vendor, there was a requirement for a downtime, and it would have been a scary task of updating a big firmware package on the storage box, considering that your production data is running on that particular box. And this is where you would see that vendors would be reluctant to release updates every few months or something like that. The life cycle of the package release would be somewhere close to 6 months to 8 months and all that stuff, because the affordability of releasing updates so frequently was not there. You cannot come and ask customers for downtime every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. And this is where we have taken a huge shift in the way we have created the operating system of the PowerStore. By utilizing container-based software architecture, what we call as a PowerStore OS, we get a unique capability of delivering the advanced system services at a very, very frequent pace. Try to relate this feature with our iPhones or our Android-based smartphones. When we sleep at night, we don't realize, but most of the times in the morning, we have our applications already updated, right? Assuming you have auto updates enabled, which means that the application vendors in the background are pushing every new functionality very, very quickly. Now, coming back to the PowerStore, relate the same feature that we have using the same container architecture, that we have the ability to push updates and new feature sets very frequently without any disruption to your services, right? This allows us to innovate faster. And if I can give you a practical example, PowerStore was launched May last year, 2020. And today we are practically 12 months up on this. And we would have released almost like 4 to 5 patches, minor updates, and one major release, which is PowerStore Operating System 2.0. And we haven't seen any customer coming in complaining about any downtime or any issue. In fact, when we release all these updates, we have seen practical situations of customers' performance or the PowerStore going up by up to 3 to 4 times, right? So this is a great feature that we have. All the services that we are providing in the PowerStore are coming and running as different smaller containers associated and connected to each other. So if I have to come and update, a particular feature on my ability to take application-based snapshots, which is called AppSync in PowerStore, I will just come and update that particular feature without touching the whole code, right? So that's a great feature to have, and that's what gives us the ability to provide, timely updates to our customers. PowerStore comes in 2 flavors. There is a T model, which is PowerStore T, and an X model, which is PowerStore X. More or less everything is same, except that file services are only available on PowerStore T. Why so? I'm going to explain that. So everything, from a hardware perspective, everything is same. From a software operating system, everything is same, except that the X model does not run the file services. So what you see on the slide is a PowerStore T, and this is a standard deployment that you see here, which means that PowerStore will be able to serve volumes to your physical servers, your virtual servers, as we saw in the past. Now, the difference in the X model is that it has the ability to provide a feature called AppsOn. What is AppsOn? We have the capability to run your VMware virtual machines directly on top of the storage. Typically, what we do is basically we have our server or the server farm having a ESXi layer, and then we deploy our VMware virtual machines on top. And the connectivity is either a direct connect or over a fiber channel or over a NAS or a TCP IP, basically, to the storage array from where you're serving your VMDK files. Now, imagine you have a virtual machine, which really requires absolute high performance only for a certain period of time, for example, or for that matter, it can be very, very persistent in what the IOPS and the latency requirements are. Imagine or consider a case where you will be able to run that virtual machine natively on top of the storage, eliminating all those hops and different layers of software and virtualization. That drives us the ability to provide native performance to that particular virtual machine directly from the storage, right? So AppsOn is basically a feature where we abstract the storage operating system by running an ESXi layer on top of the storage and having the feature set to run VMware virtual machines on top of it, right? So this provides us the ability to integrate PowerStore X into any of the existing environments. So just to give you a bit more details, When I talk about a PowerStore X, 50% of the PowerStore X resources from a compute perspective are available for apps on feature, and the rest 50% are available for PowerStore to be used as any standard storage, right? So you can still continue to serve your physical servers, your any other requirements, and from a compute perspective, and the rest 50% are available for you to run your VMware virtual machines directly on top of the PowerStore. Right, so that's a very, very unique advantage that you have, and opens up PowerStore for different deployment scenarios. And many customers are using PowerStore X, integrating it with their existing ESXis, because you can still have the same vCenter managing your existing and the PowerStore X, and having the ability to move or vMotion their virtual machines between the ESXi farm and the PowerStore X deployments. Moving quickly now, so that's what you see in this imagery. You have PowerStore OS serving the standard virtual machines and VMware virtual machines running on top of the PowerStore. Now, from a deployment perspective, PowerStore, again, because of the different models that we have, we can run all the way on a smaller footprint and a smaller size. By the way, it starts minimum with 6 drives and can go up to 384 drives in a single appliance. So you can start very small, as you see, from a capacity perspective and the model perspective, from your remote offices or your edge deployments, and all of this in a 2U space. Go all the way up to and so basically connect different workloads, whether it is your streaming applications, your IoT-based solutions, and these are all next-generation transformational workloads that are coming up where the performance requirements are very high. So you can use these feature sets with PowerStore X, for example, or PowerStore 3. Move the same PowerStore on your core or your data center. Have a native replication enabled on top of it, which can be a multi-site replication to one. So that's basically a fan-out capability that we have on a replication side, and stretch it all the way up to your public cloud. Here in this example, you see that we have multiple PowerStores integrating with your existing HCI, say, for example, your VxRail or your existing ESXi farm, having the ability to vMotion and HA virtual machines across these environments, and stretch all the way up to your public cloud by utilizing the VMware Cloud Foundation framework, which is basically something that is available in third-party public clouds as well, whether it is Azure, AWS, Google, IBM, all those main cloud providers use VMware Cloud Foundation as well. Right, so practically the use cases are a lot, and we can discuss based on different needs. We can talk about that. So you have multi-cloud access utilizing the PowerStore. So I'm on my last segment now, which is basically how the PowerStore architecture is adaptable. We have a program which is called Anytime Upgrade, where we commit that customers never have to migrate again. So every 5 years, there is a cycle that's basically a standard, de facto standard in the industry, that customers have to come back and look at a new storage architecture, look at assessments, look at different vendors, take multiple quotations. There's a whole life cycle, plan the migration, and it takes a lot of time for things to stabilize, right? But that's not the way we want to look at PowerStore as such. By having the ability to scale out, having the machine learning algorithm, which is autonomously working on top of it, having the continuous innovation with PowerStore OS, we have the ability to offer something called as an anytime upgrade, which basically means that you as a customer can call Dell Technologies anytime during the contract and come and tell us your serial number of the PowerStore, and we will have the obligation to come and replace your PowerStore controller with the next generation controllers that we have available. So it is more of a loyalty program that is there, wherein, of course, you need to enroll in that at the point of sale. So just sort of moving quickly on this. I'll just sort of show you. So basically, this is the Anytime Upgrade program. You have the ability to replace your existing PowerStore boxes with next generation of PowerStore boxes without any cost. Any kind of services around this deployment is covered by Dell EMC. It's a free of charge service. Of course, you need to enroll for this, but you can call us and ask for a controller replacement anytime during your contract, whether it is 3 years or 5 years. And this is the no downtime upgrade. So giving an example, so there are two variants of this. There is a PowerStore Anytime Upgrade Standard and Select. In our region, Anytime Standard is the only option that is available, and we don't ask for customers to renew their contract once they go in and opt for controller swap, right? What is the typical saving that we see as compared to going through the entire process is basically up to 50+% of saving as compared to all that whole cycle of assessments and evaluations and migrations and downtimes and all that stuff, right? We don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to focus on this on the left hand side, which is the standard. So imagine you are asking us for a PowerStore 3000 today, and you go for a 3-year contract. Anytime during the 3-year contract where you see your workload going up or you need more performance, you can simply call us and we'll come and change the generation 1 with the generation 2 whenever it will be available, or if it is generation 3, 3 years down the line or 5 years down the line, we will just come and change it. So you will get the latest generation of controllers, which will help you drive more performance and reduce your latency further with this Anytime Upgrade program. We do have other options as well, but I'm not going to go inside that in the interest of time. So this just shows an example where customers opted for a PowerStore, two PowerStore, and there is a depreciation cycle that is running. Right. So what you see on the downside is basically the depreciation. So customer opted for an Anytime Upgrade, change it to PowerStore 5500, and now they added another PowerStore in the same cluster. So they scaled out, increased their capacity and performance, and now they change it to a different model of PowerStore, right? So different permutation and combinations are happening in the Anytime Upgrade with this ability of machine learning algorithm, which allows customers to place their volumes wherever they want. You can predictably remove a storage box once the depreciation cycle is complete, right? So a lot of benefits are there in this. And this is a very unique offering that we have as compared to the other offerings in the market. As I said, very, very cost effective, and we don't have any strict conditions around it. If you are using an existing Dell EMC storage, we have PowerStore coming with native migration capabilities, which allows you to pull data directly from any of the existing VNXs or Unity boxes into the PowerStore. So all that is already available in the PowerStore operating system. Seamless migration is part of our storage offering. In the end, Future Proof is basically a loyalty program that you get every time you purchase a PowerStore. 4:1 data reduction guarantee is coming along, 3-year satisfaction guarantee, which means that any of the feature published on the PowerStore publicly, and if we don't honor it, we are liable to come and rectify our mistake. Anytime Upgrade program and flexible payment options as well using our financial services, which are also available in Qatar. In summary, I spoke about data-centric, PowerStore being intelligent and adaptable. And under each pillar, we had multiple feature sets, whether it is the NVMe, the ability to look at any kind of workload, file block, containers, VMware, giving 4:1 data reduction, NVMe-based design, end-to-end NVMe architecture, scale up, scale out. So if you look at this whole architecture, it's a very, very powerful with many unique feature sets, very innovative design, which you will not find. I mean, all of these features you will not find in a single box, right? And when you start looking at from a cost perspective, and this is one of the questions that I got from the customer, that all this is great, but this looks like very expensive and looks it's completely going to be out of my budget. But I can tell you right now, as Dell EMC representative, that the way the costing has been designed for this box, and especially the 500 and the 1000T, is very, very well aligned to the mid-market solutions. The cost is very well aligned around it. So I would just leave you with that thought, and I will finish my presentation. Thank you so much for the time. I hope it was useful, and I was able to address some of your thoughts around mid-range storage solutions today. With that, I will hand it over to Rafi, and I'll be available around in case any questions. Thank you so much. Have a good day. I have stopped sharing here.
It's fine now. Thank you, Mr. Rajat. It was an excellent presentation with lots of information. By seeing the features of the PowerStore, I'm sure that it's fit for all the customers in Qatar, which is mid-market or even an enterprise. You know, the features is very rich and it is really help enterprise as well as SME customers to feed their needs. I hope everybody enjoyed. Moving forward, our next speaker, Mr. Mohammad Bashir, is a senior system engineer with Mindware Technologies. Mindware. He has 15 years of experience in the IT industry with multiple roles. He will be discussing the experience of PowerProtect Data Manager. Experience of PowerProtect Data Manager. Let me welcome Mr. Mohammad Bashir for his excellent presentation on PowerProtect.
Senior system engineer covering Qatar and Levant region. First of all, thank you everyone for joining with us. It's our pleasure to partner with TS Qatar to introduce our portfolios. I hope you are enjoying the sessions. With that, I will start my presentation. I will be talking about Dell EMC data protection solutions, what we can offer to our customers. Okay, so these are the products you can find it in your data centers. You will have multiple servers. It could be any vendors, servers, storage with different models. You will have clients. You will have everything. You will have multiple models. If you take it as a Dell EMC, we have wide variety of models available, as we are not forcing any customers to on one product. We are giving a diversity. And for this, for everything what we mentioned above in here, you will need a data protection. It could be server, storage, or even your laptop, desktop. You should have a data protection in place, because we don't know when your data is getting affected. Maybe it get deleted, it might get corrupted. So definitely you need a data protection solution. So with Dell EMC, with Dell technologies, we have multiple models available. We have as a backup, we have backup targets. It will be just a hardware to serve your backup targets. It could be software, you can use it anyone. And we have something called integrated appliance. It comes as a bundle with the software and hardware, everything from Dell EMC. And you have an option to directly do a backup to cloud from these appliances. And you have a disaster recovery. Either it could be your appliance to appliance or appliance to cloud. So multiple options. Even we have cloud offering for your internal solution, like Office 365, everything, we have a solution. And we have something on cloud, which is Cloud Archive. Let's say if you don't want to keep your backup data for so much time, like your olden data, and if you want to free up your backup appliance, you can move your old backup to the cloud as a cloud tier. And we have a solution for cyber recovery with air gap solutions. We can have a different discussion on that. So I want to show you with this slide, we have all the options available with Dell EMC with different products. So I'm sure that all of you will have a requirement with one of these at least, or some might need multiple things. As we are in this data era, we have many places where you need a data protection. It could be VMware, maybe a bare metal normal servers, Hyper-V, and containers. So we will have a wide variety of data available, and we should give a data protection for all. So with Dell EMC solution, we are giving you 55:1 dedupe ratio in our appliances, and we are comparing to some of the solution. We are giving you 2x faster backups, and the bandwidth requirement is again less, approximately 98% less. So we have multiple data available to show you this figure. As per one of the study, 71% of customers more likely unable to recover data if you are using a multiple vendors, because you have to manage multiple vendors, software, hardware, cloud, all different vendors. These are some of the marketing figures, and 48% more likely to suffer loss of valuable data when they use multiple vendors. We know that how difficult it is manage multiple vendors on any solution. With Dell EMC, this is our portfolio. As I mentioned earlier, we have data domain series appliances. This will serve your as purpose-built backup appliance. And we have something called Data Protection Suite or PowerProtect Data Manager. And this is just a software. This will be a hardware. You can integrate this hardware with this software or a different vendor software. And we have something called Integrated Data Protection Appliance. It comes bundle software and hardware together. So we will talk about each one in coming slides. So let's look into data protection, data PowerProtect data domain series. So data domain is our Dell EMC's flagship product. We have acquired this in almost 2019. We have acquired this company, and it's been part of our portfolio since then. So it's a purpose-built backup appliance. So what do you mean by purpose-built backup appliance? Many of you might be wondering, why do we need a appliance only for storing our backup data? Can we store it in NAS? You will find the economical NAS box in the market. Can we store that? What is the advantage you will get with purpose-built backup appliance? If you see the backup data, this backup data, you will be taking backup of data, same data again and again. Let's say if you take a backup, full backup on Friday, maybe you will do a full backup again next Friday. So most of the data will be identical. If it is a normal box, NAS box, it will be storing twice. But if you are using a purpose-built backup appliance, there will be an intelligent embedded with the appliance for the deduplication, compression, and all. System will know that, okay, this data, we have stored it already. We don't need to store it again. It will just do a pointer to the same data. I have a slide describing about it. We'll check again in that. So we are the industry leading data reduction. We are giving you a data reduction with variable length deduplication, unlike others. And it is cloud enabled. You can do that. You can extend your data from our appliance to the cloud with different technologies. And this is one of the other feature of our data domain, which is data invulnerability architecture. What is this DIA? So if you take a backup as an example, most of the customer will do a backup, but how many times you test your backup, whether is it recoverable or not? Because we will do the recovery only when needed. Let's say if you have if you have deleted some data, if you have corrupted some data, you will try to delete it. You will try to recover it. What if you are not able to retrieve it? So what, as a purpose-built appliance, what data domain will do is, it has a capability. There is an inline data verification happening internally to check that the data is correct, whether is it stored correct, and there will be continuously monitoring. This data will be monitored continuously for any detection or any error detection, and it will do a self-healing itself if it finds it, and it will make sure that you can recover or you can access the data whenever required. So this is one of the feature of purpose-built backup appliance. It will make sure that you can recover your data on time and whenever required. This is the deduplication slide, what I was mentioning it. Let's take an example of a full backup. Let's say you have a 1 TB data, you want to backup. And you know that if you see this example, there are multiple blocks. It is identical. So if it is an identical block, it will not store again. It will just do a pointer because this A has already stored here. So you will have for 1 TB, maybe you will have approximately 250 GB physical capacity required. And when you do an incremental backup on Monday, only new block one, even though you've added 3 blocks, out of 3, 2 was all done one, and you don't need to store this again, but only 1 block is new one, you will store this. Approximately you will have a 5 GB increment. So this is how on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and again on Friday, you will have to do a full backup again. And when you do a full backup, it will compare whether we have this data already stored, and you can see that most of the data blocks are already stored. You need only maybe 18 GB. It's an example. I just want to show you that how dedupe will help you to get a better performance and better capacity utilization. So for an approximately 2.2 TB, you will need maybe approximately 300 GB physical data. So this is what I was talking about, purpose-built backup appliance, how it will help you to do a deduplication. And again, we have 2 types of deduplication available, fixed and variable deduplication. And we are using a variable deduplication technology. This is just an example. Let's say if you want to write a data, I want to go home. If it is a fixed deduplication, maybe let's consider it as a 4K blocks. It will divide this block into 4K and you will have 5 blocks. It will write first. And let's say if you want to insert some word like walk, I want to walk home, you will have to edit, you will have to update block, first block, second block, and third block, because it's a fixed, you cannot increase or decrease this block. So basically you will have to update 3 blocks to edit it. And let's take an example with variable length deduplication. You will write it as 5 block. And if you want to edit, if you want to insert walk, I want to walk home, you just have to insert 1 block with a different block size, and it can help you to write it. So this is the major difference in the practical example I was mentioning. So in fixed deduplication, you will have to update 3 blocks in this example, wherein with variable deduplication, you just need to update only 1 block. So data domain will use variable deduplication technology. And we have something called DD Boost. So DD Boost, it will sit on application client. Let's say you are doing a backup of your database. This what DD Boost will do is there will be an agent running in this application host. And before sending data to the data domain, it has access to this data domain database, whether this new block, whether it is already there in the data domain or not. It will compare it. If already there is a block, it will not send this data again, because in general case, the deduplication will happen on the appliance, your in our case, data domain. So the data has to come from this application server to data domain to do the deduplication. But with DDBoost, we can able to avoid that and only require data to be sent here. With this, we can achieve less bandwidth for the backup and faster backup time. So this is one of the features we have available in data domain. And we have a huge, big portfolio on data domain. I will just go on high level. We have virtual edition. Let's say you have a normal storage, and if you want to do a data domain as a virtual, there's a software available. You can buy that. There is one thing. And if you want to do a purpose-built backup appliance, we have starting with the data domain 3300, which will give you a logical capacity of approximately 200 TB to 1.6 petabyte, depends on your data and data deduplication. So this is the usable capacity you will get with this appliance. 32 TB usable you will get, and with the DD6900 from 48 to 288 TB, and if you and the next model 9400 and 9900, you will get more capacity. So this is a general portfolio for data domain. And many of our SMB customers, DD3300 was more than enough to serve their requirement. So this is about DD3300, and it comes with 4 TB, 16 TB, and 32 TB usable capacity. Actually, the disk, when you buy a data domain, even if you don't buy 32 TB in first instance, you will get hardware as it is. And next, if you want to upgrade from 16 to 32 TB, you don't have to buy an hardware. There's a disk already there. There is an enabler software. You just have to add the software license to it. So this is on the data domain. And this is a comparison with our previous data domain. It is 50% faster, and the capacity wise also 5.6 x more scalable. And we have the cloud enablement. With the cloud enablement, let's say if you want to move some data from data domain to the cloud, it is supported with the cloud enablement. You can move your data to any of your cloud, let's say Azure, AWS, or Google. So this is supported. We will give you the gateway to move the data. So there is a cloud enablement with data domain 3300. So that's about the purpose-built hardware. And on the software, as you know that when you take backup, it has two components. It has software and it has hardware. So you need to have software separately and hardware separately. So far we were speaking about hardware. Now we will check about the software. So software, we have something called as data protection suite. What data protection suite is, it will give you a protection to your virtual machine or physical machine. It depends on your environment. What it comes with, it has a data protection central. It will be the centralized data backup window for you. You can manage all the backup things. You will have definitely you will have a GUI for your backup software. Apart from that, you will have a centralized data backup view from this data protection central. And you will have a Power Protect Data Manager with this. And you will have Avamar or Networker, which is our backup software with this. And we have multiple, in this suite, we have multiple products embedded with this. And as I was mentioning, Data Protection Central will give you a centralized reporting and monitoring capability. with this dashboard. So these are some of the benefits: single view of data protection and reporting, search, everything can be run from one window. You don't need to run it from multiple windows. And that's about our software. And about the software, we will have multiple licensing available. You can license it per virtual machine. You can license it per physical machine, or you can license it with the physical capacity like 1 TB, 2 TB increments. We have it. All the options are available on the software. Then comes with our new appliance. It's been there in the market for some time now. We have been selling this even in Qatar market. We have a lot of installed base already. This is called integrated appliance. So I was mentioning that as a backup solution, you need to have software and hardware, and you will have to buy software and hardware separately. With this integrated appliance, what we are giving is, we are giving you data domain, hardware and software. Hardware is data domain with the data domain virtual edition, and you will get the software both together. You don't need to buy separately. There is integration. So when you buy this, within half an hour, you power up, you initialize this hardware, your data protection solution is ready. You don't have to have an hustle creating a server and hardware separately. So with this appliance, you can do a backup and restore. You can do a replication to, it could be another appliance. You can do a disaster recovery. It has deduplication capability, what I was mentioning about the data domain. It will have a cloud DR or long-term retention available. And we have something on instant access and restore, which is, let's say, if you want to run your virtual machine before recovering it. Let's say if you have some issue on your virtual machine, in general case, you have to recover and run it. So in this, you can do a instant access. You can run the virtual machine directly from this appliance, and once it is ready, you can do a vMotion from the appliance to your normal storage. This is supported. We have something called search and analytics. This will give you some analytical information about your data, and what I want to stress on that, for all these features, we have our labs available, Dell EMC lab available. If you are interested to check on the features, we are ready to get you the access, and we are ready to do a demo on this. So all these features are embedded in one, and this is our integrated appliance. So even with the integrated appliance, we have multiple options available for small and mid-size customers. We have DP data protection 4400 available. It will give a backup in just speed up to 9 TB per hour, and logical capacity of 80 TB to 4.8 petabyte, and usable capacity. This is very important. Usable capacity, you can start with 8 TB and you can go up to 96 terabyte without upgrading the hardware. And we have other models, DP 5800, 8300 and 8800 also available. And for the small, mid and remote and branch offices, we are actually positioning this DP 4400 product. So it's actually with this 2U, it's very powerful with all the features. So this I was mentioning, we have all the features and we have added into this appliance. So you can upgrade from 8 TB to 96 TB without any hardware. It is 2U form factor. The deployment, earlier you need so much time to deploy a backup infrastructure, because you need to install software, you need to install hardware, there is an integration challenges. So here you are getting everything in one box. So this is an user interface with, you will get one interface. Again, you will get an interface with for the appliance. and you can do your backup policy can be managed. You can pull out the reports, and everything can be done in one interface. This will support all the workload, it could be physical, virtual. So all the workloads are supported with this appliance. And this appliance, actually we have the capability, I was mentioning about the cloud capability of our appliance. So we have two types of capability. Either you can do a disaster recovery to the cloud, which means from this appliance, you can push your data. Let's say you want a DR solution on your cloud. You can push your data from here to any of the cloud, could be AWS or Azure or Google, and there will be a VM running in between, a gateway, and you will get same copy of a VM. Let's say you are protecting a VM here and you want to do a DR, you will get the same copy on your cloud. This is one thing, that is disaster recovery. And some customer want to push the data as an archival, long-term retention, because you want to free up your appliance for the newer data. So in this case, you can do an LTR, which is long-term retention. You can push your data from your appliance to cloud with LTR capabilities. And replication is supported to DR sites. You can do a replication from DP4400 or other model to the same model. So this is supported. And the beauty is you will be sending only the deduplicated and compressed data, and the connectivity between the site will be encrypted. And this I've already talked about it. You can extend to cloud. This is there. Long-term retention is there. This is all supported. All the public cloud providers are supported with this for the long-term retention and disaster recovery. This is with the slide. I'll just skip it because we already spoke about it. So once you have all you configured everything, with 3 clicks, you can fail over from your integrated DR to the cloud. Again, with 2 clicks, you can fail it back. And we have a tight integration with the VMware. As you know that Dell technology, VMware is part of Dell technologies, and you can do most of the work from the VMware interface itself. So this is in a nutshell. We have source-side deduplication, which is powered by 14G, and we have NVMe flash with all the data domain IDPA appliances for instant access and restore. We are offering you a 55:1 dedupe ratio, and you know that when you go ahead, when you go from like 1 month to 1 year and 3 year and 5 years, this dedupe ratio will be getting increased because you will have more full backup. You will have more full backup of monthly. You will have full backup of weekly and all. So more you do the backup again and again, you will get dedupe ratio better. And for all our customers, we are giving you a 5 TB of gateway license to do the cloud DR or cloud instant recovery. So in general, we have software and we have hardware from Dell EMC, which is data protection, data domain as an hardware. And we have software, which is data domain virtual edition or data protection suite, which is from Dell EMC. And also we have integrated data protection appliance, and this will serve both. And we have a data protection center to give you one view of your all environment. And to give you one more point, let's say if you have any other data protection software already in place, like Veeam or any other software, there is a compatibility, and we are definitely supported with the Veeam. You can buy a data domain to integrate with Veeam. It is supported. Maybe some customer, we know that some doesn't want to change the interface. Even we have a capability on Veeam. You can manage our data domain. You can manage it from the Veeam window. So there is a tight integration between data domain and Veeam. And if you are already using any of the software, there is a scope for a purpose-built data protection appliance. So this is it from our portfolio. And I want to stress one more on future proof, which Rajat was discussing about PowerStore. So we are giving you a 3-year satisfaction guarantee. And if you find something we have advertised in the website or our spec sheet, you are not satisfied, we are ready to compensate on that. You will get up to 55:1 data protection ratio with our future proof program. And there is a predictable support pricing. You know that after 3 years, let's say you are buying a hardware for 3-year support, and if you want to upgrade the support after 3 years, it depends every time, like what will be the price. But with this, we can give you a support price, what will be your support price after 3 years, and we can give you today itself before buying it. And we will give you an investment protection, and there are multiple future proof program available. You can take it one by one when you have some when we meet again. That's it from my side about data protection. To summarize, we have data protection hardware, which is data domain. We have data protection software, which is data protection suite and ProProtect data manager. And together we have integrated data protection appliance, which serve both. So that's it from my side. Thank you for attending with us. We will proceed with question and answer, and we will have a quiz with Kahoot interface. Please let us know if you have any question.
Seems to be already Bashir. Hello, shall I continue? Yeah. Thank you, Bashir. It's really nice. I learned a lot of information and hope everybody enjoyed. Now the time for question and answer session. So let's please share your questions in the chat window, and our speakers will be responding to it. Hello. Any questions are received?
I don't know. Maybe I can see a question there.
Chat window.
Yeah.
Yes, one question.
What if I have a non-Dell EMC storage array? How do you offer data migration in that case? All right. Yeah. So I think the question is, we spoke about the data migration capabilities from existing Dell EMC storage, but what if there is a non-Dell EMC storage, HP, IBM? So we do offer, as part of the PowerStore operating system, there is a specific engine called Orchestrator, which allows for non-Dell EMC storage arrays to also be included as far as the migration is concerned. So there are multiple methodologies that can be deployed depending on how much downtime we are talking about, especially in case of a non-Dell EMC array. So that's something that can be discussed. And just to add, Dell Technologies have local presence in Qatar, which means we have support and services team locally based, which can help any kind of requirement around data migration. In case you have an existing VMware or Hyper-V environment, that also plays a big role, because in that case, we can use the third-party tools to do application-based migration as well. So yeah, in summary, we do have the capability to address these kind of situations. Anything else from anyone?
Any more questions? What kind of disk you are using?
What kind of disk are we using in PowerStore on performance? Okay. So as I mentioned in my slides, we use NVMe SSDs. We don't use SAS drives. We don't use SATA drives. The only drive that we use on the PowerStore is the NVMe solid state drive, which is way faster as compared to a traditional solid state drive. So the performance capability, now if I have to talk about from a PowerStore 1000T, for example, we can go up to, I believe, depending on the workload, but we can go up to more than 100,000 IOPS very easily on PowerStore. And just to add, NVMe, as I mentioned, is more of a parallel protocol, unlike SAS. So just bear that in mind, that the performance utilized on the NVMe based media is far better as compared to a traditional solid state drive, and definitely the spinning SAS drives as well. Yeah. So what's the cloud integration you have on DB4400? So we provide different type of scenarios with DB4400. You have the possibility of long-term archival, which means that you can use the DP4400 to connect to a public cloud provider and just to use it for long-term archival. You also have the capability of using Azure AWS for cloud backup as well. So you can have a backup copy replicated to the public cloud. We have a data domain virtual edition, as Bashir mentioned, which can be replicated too from their primary DP4400 on the main side. And yeah, so those are the two use cases that we allow. And just to sort of add one more point on that, with every data protection 4400 that customers purchase, there a 5 terabyte license for cloud DR or LTA cloud long-term archival is coming along. We have Unity 400. Is there a buyback option? Yes, we definitely do. That's a great question. We do have a tech refresh program where we can either provide you sort of a buyback option, and of course look at it from a complete assessment perspective, putting the right PowerStore model. So yes, buyback option is there. Anybody else? Any other question, or else we can move to the quiz part.
Thank you for asking the questions. Now let us start the Kahoot. I invite Mr. Bashir to control the Kahoot session, and Mr. Farhan, Manager, Sales at TS Qatar, for award announcement and thank you note. Thank you for all the participants. Kahoot, Bashir, you can go ahead with the Kahoot session. Yeah. Everybody, please join the Kahoot. It is www.kahoot.it. You can enter the pin and move forward from your mobile or from your desktop. It's possible from either way. Bashir, can you just give an introduction of Kahoot and continue?
Yes.
Join. Yeah, please.
Please join here. Go to your mobile, or as Rafi mentioned, mobile or desktop. You can go to this www.kahoot.it. It will ask you a game pin. You will have to enter this game pin 1737811, and make sure your name is showing in this screen. So anyway, I have put 2 questions, test questions. So when we have this, we can again, I will show you. We are expecting some more people for the Kahoot quiz. So let's wait for 2-3 minutes more.
We are looking for more participants. We'll be announcing 5 winners. The top 5 winners will be gifted. The first 3 prizes are sponsored by Mindware, and the remaining 2 are from TS Qatar. So there will be total 5 winners. So if anyone have any difficulty, just put it on chat so that we can address it.
Farhan, we should wait for some more time, or we can start.
So yeah, I think yes, we'll wait for 1 more minute. If anyone have any challenge, just put it on chat so that we can address it or wait for you. So after 1 minute, we can start.
I think we'll start now. We have 23 participants. Anyway, if somebody is joining late, it's fine. We have 2 questions. We kept it as just a test. So you will find the questions in the screen, and the correct answer you will find when you log into your mobile or desktop. You will find 4 colors. The correct answer you should choose from your mobile or desktop. Anyway, I will show you from the screen. Okay, let's start. Okay, going on. So this is a question. This will not have any point. So you need to choose correct answer. So what is the capital of Qatar? So Doha, you need to choose the color on your mobile or on your desktop. I think only 2 have selected. Only 5, 6 have selected already. So we'll have 1 more question, test question. So this will not have any point. So based on the question, you need to choose the right color on your screen. This is just a test question. You can choose the correct answer as per the color. Okay, we will go ahead. So the next questions will be from the topics what we have covered. Okay, we'll move ahead. The coolest thing about PowerStore for us, the upfront cost saving. Okay, we have 3. So please read the answers carefully before clicking. So once you choose, you cannot change it. Which DLMC powered feature? Okay, move ahead. Powerstor feature allows for delivery of new software and capabilities and updates frequently and allows for rapid time to market. So we were talking about the feature of operating system. What is the feature I can ask for data in place upgrade? It's free of cost. Okay. We have 3 more questions. What is the name of an entry-level purpose-built backup appliance from Dell EMC? It's an entry level we were talking in. Very good. Moving ahead. So we have Mike, Vijay, Maran. Okay. Power Protect Data Appliance is Depreciation, Cloud DR, backup software, and all of that above. These are the options. Okay, we have correct answers. Okay, we have Mike leading. So we will have the last question. Data domain 4400 starts from 50 TB, 100 TB, 12 TB, or 8 TB and scale up to 96 TB. Okay. So we have the podium Mohammad Farhan. This is not TS Qatar Farhan. This is a different Farhan. Naveen in second, and we have Mike, and we have Suleiman and Vijay. Congratulations, everyone. Okay, thank you guys. Farhan, if you want to have any word, I can.
Yeah, thanks to all our participants. Thank you for your time. Thanks to Mindware team. Thanks to Dell team for making this a grand event. And congratulations to all our winners. We have 5 winners. Top 3 are first Mr. Mike, then second Naveen, third Mohammad Farhan. Actually, it is not me. It is from our customer side. Remaining 2 winners are there. All 5 winners will be awarded. And then yes, for any of your queries, anything regarding the presentation or any of your requirement, you please reach out to any of your account manager. We will come back to you with the solutions. And if any one of you need to have any serious discussion regarding your computing or storage or backup related inquiries, if you want the speakers we had today, or any from Dell or any Dell consultant wants to speak with you in your office, we are more than happy to bring them to your office. So let us know if you have any query. And once again, thanks a lot for your time and your patience.
Farhan, I want to add one more point. We are expecting a demo box of PowerStore soon in Qatar, and we are happy to present it in your office, and we are happy to give it for testing.
Yeah. So once again, sorry to miss out that point. We'll be having a PowerStore device in our office sooner. That is already in. We have ordered this device, and it will be sooner shipped to Qatar, and we'll be installing it in our office. Any one of you want to come and experience it, you are always welcome. You can come and experience it from our office. And also, we are ready to do any kind of any POC in your environment as well. So we are open for any of your queries on that part. Let's come back with your queries to your account manager. Thank you all, and congratulations to all our winners. The gifts will be passed out to you shortly. We'll get in touch with you.